Market Cafe with me, Ankur Mishra and Kanishka Sarkar. In next 1 hour, we'll bring you all the news that matters to you before opening of market. But it's a rainy morning in Mumbai, Kanishka. How about in Delhi? And more than that, we felt that there was some thunderstorm due to Trump's comment in America as well.
Absolutely, Ankur. A very good morning to you, first of all. It was a rainy morning in Delhi, in fact, indeed. But before that, let's take a look at how the US markets fared last week. Now, the stocks did decline on Friday, like as you mentioned, after President Trump raised trade fears again, warning Apple and recommending stiffer duties on European Union. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that fell more than 250%. That fell more than 250 points, whereas the S&P 500 that shed 0.67%, and the nasdaq composite that declined about 1% on Friday. Apple shares, they declined about 3% after Trump posted on Truth Social that iPhones that are sold in the US must be made in the US, and if they are not, a tariff of at least 25% would be imposed on them. Friday's decline also added to the weekly losses. Now, the S&P 500, Dow and Nasdaq all lost more than 2% on week. Futures on Wall Street, however, have advanced after US President Donald Trump delayed the imposition of that 50% tariff on the European Union starting June 1st until July 9th. Now, the Dow futures gained as much as 320 points post the announcement, while futures on the S&P 500 and Nasdaq have risen 45 points and 200 points respectively, thereabouts. However, we must note that the markets in US are closed today on account of Memorial Day holiday.
Yes, definitely. But if you look at the Dow futures, they have actually gained around 0.5% after the news which has come in that there is a pause by President Trump on EU tariffs. However, if you look at the crude prices, they also extended gains after Trump's announcement on Truth Social. The Brent crude is hovering around $65, whereas if you see at WTI, it is just less than $62. Apart from that, if you see the whole week, last week, it was actually first week after April where you would see there is a decline in the crude prices. Why it happened? It happened because there is news that on Sunday there is a meeting which is going to be held by OPEC, and we expect that there is going to be increase in the output. Whereas if you see the gold prices, it is hovering around 3,340, down around 0.5%.
All right, that's the prices as far as crude is concerned. But let's move on and take a look at the global cues that we are watching out for today. Well, as I mentioned earlier, US markets are going to be closed on account of Memorial Day. UK markets are also going to be closed on the back of Spring Bank holiday. Now, back home, the lock-in period ends for Paradeep Phosphates. In other events, we have the ECB President, Christine Lagarde, who's expected to speak later in the day. Apart from that, ASEAN Summit of International Leaders is due in Kuala Lumpur.